became a huge ranked choice voting advocate for years. And the reasons were what I had learned that first day. I want it to be safe to vote my conscience. I want to be sure that my vote won't be wasted if my favorite can't win. And I want to eliminate vote splitting and spoiler effect to elect more representative candidates. It wasn't until I volunteered for my first ranked choice voting Oregon meeting and showed up in person that I got facts checked. And I didn't take kindly to that. I'm a wonky person. I love policy. I had read everything from Fair Vote, the main lobbyist organization behind ranked choice voting. And they were like, well, it's more safe to vote your conscience, but voting for your first choice can actually backfire, just like the current system. Ranked choice is counted like a series of traditional elections, so it has all the same problems, but it does mitigate them somewhat. And I was like, that's not true. Let me volunteer for the research committee. I started looking at studies measuring, how accurate are these voting methods? How often do they really elect the most representative candidate? And the studies were unanimous, no matter who did them, how old they were, through tons of election science, that our current system is by far the least accurate voting method out there. It fails anytime there's more than two candidates or two parties. Somebody can have 1% of the vote and throw the election to the other side. And that's a huge problem. But ranked choice voting is just next up the ladder. And there are dozens of voting methods that have been invented hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago, a few years ago. All other alternative voting methods pretty much outperform ranked choice voting as it's being proposed. We owe it to voters to get this right. We can't afford to tell people what they want to hear. The risk of backlash, if we ram through something that is essentially a burnt pancake, it might take more than one try to get this policy right. And we can't ignore the election science community.